Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching an Abhijit Chavda video because a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy Abhijit Chavda. And I will admit, there are some videos or some topics of his that I agree with and I enjoy. And there's some things that I disagree with. But you know what? That is life, right? It's a give and take. You don't have to agree with everything to appreciate and enjoy, somebody's opinion, right? So I wanted to see what his opinion is on will Russia remain neutral in Indian China Pakistan war? India China / Pakistan war. This is one of his ask Abhijit topics. Yes, watch the full episode. I believe this was this aired in November during the U.S. election. U.S. election emergency. What? Oh my god. This is so loud. U.S. election emergency episode. Trump wins in historic landslide. Emergency episode? Interesting. Okay. So yeah, we have he lists his UPI, his PayPal. Does he list the UPI here so you can like pay him directly via the UPI, Universal Payment something? I don't know what the acronym stands for. I've heard it, right? But I don't know. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So yeah, we have this video here. We're gonna go ahead and watch it. What I wonder, why just India, China, Pakistan? Would Bangladesh not be involved in this as well, considering they're such a close neighbor? Well, in that instance, well, Nepal and Bhutan wouldn't be involved. Although, isn't Bhutan isn't China taking over their land so they can encroach on the Siliguri corridor right now? Like they're literally setting up. They're sending in troops and setting up villages in Bhutanese land, right? I want to say that's true. I've seen that. Ah, man. Man, and again, yeah, if India were to go to war with China / Bangladesh / Pakistan, wouldn't Myanmar also step in and try to take some of the land territory in the sister states up in the northeast there? 100% bet you they would. Oh, it is just it's. We should watch the video. I can sit here and speculate all I want, but let's watch Abhijit Chavda speculate because I think he has a better insight on this topic, and I think he's worth listening to. So let's go ahead and watch it. Yeah, we will give him a watch.
Russia is making ties with Pakistan and China.
Yeah.
Does this mean that if India goes to war with Pakistan or China,
Russia is making ties with Pakistan and China? We'll let him finish. Hold on. Sorry.
Russia will remain neutral, just like India stayed neutral in the Ukraine-Russia war?
So here's the thing. There has been pushes from beyond the Great Firewall showcasing that China is interested in taking back Russian land that Russia took from China. What was it, like nearly 200 years ago? So I don't believe Russia would align with China unless like something serious happened. But again, we'll listen to Abhijit Chavda on this one.
Look,
I'm looking.
has India stayed neutral in the Ukraine-Russia war? You can say we are neutral in this matter. Our prime minister has even visited Kiev, whatever the spelling is of that city. And he has even embraced Mr. Zelensky and patted his back and listened to him with a very grave expression on his face, etc. We've done that.
So I'm torn on the Ukraine-Russian war. Like, here's the thing. I don't support Russia forcibly taking Ukrainian territory, killing Ukrainian people. But at the same time, coming from an American perspective, seeing how much money my government is like funneling towards Ukraine instead of helping its own people has kind of soured me on the whole situation, right? Like, especially like with recently. So I live in North Carolina, And in my state, a couple months ago, there was the hurricane came through, caused massive floods, severe damage to whole local areas. Whole cities were completely flooded out. Those people are still struggling with very little help, and even just a couple days ago, right before the year 2024 ended, the government announced they were sending another $2.5 billion to Ukraine. Now I understand a lot of that is in tied in assets of like military assets, right? But I don't know. You think you could liquidate some of that and help the people that that need the help here in our own country? I don't know. See, I'm torn with it, man. Like I don't know. We'll go ahead and watch the video.
But we look, to be very frank, we have, you could say, we have been very pro India in the
Yeah.
sense that this war has kind of benefited us, and why should it not?
It did
So
did
we
benefit
have
India because uh,
been
because because it benefited India in a sense that like Russia would sell India oil, and then India would sell the oil to like say the U.S. I believe the U.S. bought a lot of Russian oil via India, and then the U.S. would sell that back to Europe.
purchasing very large quantities of oil from Russia at reasonably discounted rates, and we have been refining that oil and then selling it to the Europeans at a higher rate. So it's kind of benefited us, not in a small way.
Yeah.
And we have refused to let the Western sanctions and the Western war against Russia change our relationship with Russia. So we have maintained a very warm and friendly relationship with Russia despite this war going on. So that is not entirely neutral. That is, you could say, slightly warm towards Russia. Okay. Now, coming back to the question, Russia is making ties with Pakistan and China. Look, every nation looks out for its interest. Russia currently has a certain amount of dependency on China. China is very important for Russia right now, way more important than India. China is roughly 4 times larger as an economy compared to India, roughly, give or take. Okay, don't nitpick again, but you get the point, right? You get the point. So China is really important for Russia, and China, until very recently, had a very antagonistic approach towards India, very hostile approach towards India, right?
I mean,
Our leaders
China's
did not
always
even
had
speak for
a
5 years to each
hostile
other,
towards India,
that sort of thing.
even now.
So the Chinese would
I think a lot of the hate that's towards India and Indians that's going on in the past 2 weeks. I 100% believe that a good portion of it is Chinese bots and other. I'm not going to specifically say Pakistan. I don't know if Pakistan is capable of doing that, but I definitely think Chinese bots, like Chinese bot farms, are pushing the narrative that there's severe hatred towards Indians. There is a lot of racism coming from the West towards Indians as well, but I do also believe that it's a lot of Chinese bots doing it.
have encouraged the Russians to open some kind of relationship with Pakistan. And Russia and Pakistan have been dallying with each other for quite some time. Um, there was this a series of exercises that happened every year. Druzhba exercises. Druzhba means friendship in Russian. So Druzhba exercises once a year between Pakistan and the Pakistani military and the Russian military. Once a year would be held from 2015, 2016 onwards until 2021, if I'm not mistaken. You can look up the years and there will be plus or minus somewhere here or there. But every year there was a Druzhba exercise between the two militaries. It would be 1 year, it would be in Russia, 1 year in Pakistan, alternating, right? That sort of thing.
I've never heard of this
And the
before. That's
Russians even
interesting.
sold 2 or 3 military helicopters to the Pakistanis and so on. So there was some kind of thing already going on. But the Druzhba exercises have stopped. They stopped from 22 onwards because India once again became very important for Russia. India is the counterbalance to China, definitely very much, right? So I don't think the Russians will prioritize Pakistan over India ever. If India goes to war with Pakistan, I don't think Russia needs to come to India's rescue. if there's a war with Pakistan,
Yeah.
Russia will technically remain neutral. They'll they'll be eating
Well,
popcorn.
does if here okay, so if there is a war between India and Pakistan again, which I'm hoping there isn't, because conflict is always an issue and people always die in conflict. You don't want people to die, but if there is in that an instance where that were to happen again, um, would would India need any help? Like Pakistan, like military wise, from what I've seen, they can't really compare to India. And they're having trouble right now with like with ISIS on their western front, or was it the Taliban? The Taliban's causing issues on like the western front of Pakistan. Like recently, there was a conflict where like 20 or 30 people were killed on the western side of Pakistan. The only thing I can think of where India would need help was if Pakistan formed an allegiance with China, and if Pakistan and India were to go to war, and China were to send in like some of the newest generational jet fighters, which I believe China's the first one to get those new generational jet fighters. Then India would probably have see some issues, but again, you gotta believe that propaganda as well. Like China puts out so much propaganda, and if they wanted the world to know they had those fighters, they would have put out that they had those fighters. And the reason they would want the world to have they would want the world to know they have those fighters is to, I don't know. Uh, it's a tactic that they use where they fake a lot of things. And I'm not saying that it's fake that they don't have it, but it's always a possibility. I don't know. It's complex. It's more complex than my brain can handle, right? So,
And watching the annihilation of Pakistan. Okay, with I'm not trying to be flippant or anything, but that's exactly what will happen if there's a war between India and Pakistan. It'll be the last war Pakistan ever fights.
yeah, exactly.
When it comes to war, potential
If it's just solely between India and Pakistan, and even like if Bangladesh were to go in there, um, India would win.
war between India and China, Russia will be in a very tough position. If India goes to war with Pakistan, Russia doesn't have to do a thing. India will deal with Pakistan. India and China is a whole different ball game, and Russia will be in a very difficult position if that happens. Thankfully, India and China seem to be on a better track now. There is less likelihood of a war between India and China. But in the hypothetical, fictitious scenario that there is a war between India and China, what does Russia do? Uh, Mr. Putin will do his best to stay neutral. And actually, he will stay neutral, no matter how much pressure the Chinese put on him. He will not go against India. I strongly believe, I firmly believe that Putin will not do a thing that will harm India's interests. So, we know the Russians have been selling arms and ammunition to both countries, India and China both. They have sold the S-400 system to China as well as India, very nicely balancing things out. Yes. Um, so, if there's a war between India and China, Russia will probably, most likely, stay
Stay
neutral.
neutral, huh?
And Putin will do his best to end the war if there's a war that happens. And I am pretty certain that whatever rapprochement we are seeing between India and China, I am pretty certain that Mr. Putin has played a big role in that. Because it is in Russia's interests to have the emergence of a RIC coalition, Russia, India, China. It is in all three nations' interests to have a coalition like RIC emerging. RIC is the core group of BRICS, isn't it?
They want that coalition so they can face off against Western powers. But the West is. I don't want to say the West is falling, but like Europe for sure is facing a lot of cultural issues. Right? They're having like a cultural invasion right now, and it doesn't look good for them. I'm pointing that out. I'm just gonna say it, right. As far as the U.S. has been, it really, it's hard to say what the U.S. is going to be like because Donald Trump hasn't officially become president again. I think there's going to be a lot of change when finally gets into office, and because he's really planning on going through and gutting a lot of the unnecessary chaff in our government. So we'll see what happens with that. If he's able to cut off the weak spots in the government and make America great again, right? We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
And if the three nations can find a way to work together and cooperate, then they can truly create an alternative to the existing Western dominated world order, which hurts every other nation, including these three. So I'm pretty certain
I
that
want the
Putin has played
US
a
I want the US to focus on itself. That's what I want. I hate that the US has is designated its role to be world police. I want the US to be focused on US first. That's what I want. I want there are so many issues going on in my country right now, and I hate that so many resources are being pushed out to other countries before our own problems are fixed. I said it. I said it. I said it. I said it. Is that crazy? Does that make me a weirdo? I don't think so.
big role in whatever improvement we have witnessed in recent months between in the relationship between India and China. And if a war happens, he will do his best to end the war and to act as a mediator. That's how I see it going.
Okay. All right. Interesting. UFOs, UAPs invade USA. Space race has India given up? I don't think India's given up. This must be an old video. What the heck is this? Ultimate illegal disturbing movie iceberg. I mean, a bread tuber, ordinary things. He's okay, I guess. Weird, 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 weird recommendations. Okay, I'm gonna read some comments, man. I'm interested to see what some of these people have to say. Only 46 comments. What? What? That's crazy. Modi government had been pro Modi government, not India. They purchased cheap oil, but we kept paying 105 rupees per liter, more than what Pakistan pays, any country pays in South Asia. If you converted a Pakistan rupee to Indian rupee, we have been paying higher prices than all countries in the region for the last 20 years. You may verify the data in GPT. GPT? What is GPT? Is that Chat GPT? I wouldn't trust Chat GPT. Maybe this is global something. I don't know what GPT stands for. The average price of gasoline in India is even higher than in China, which is quite surprising considering the gap in average income between the two countries. The average income in China is inflated because of the cities. If you go out of the cities, the people are exceptionally poor. Because they earn from it, and China does not need to earn from oil. They are 5 times more economic powerful, because India is selling that oil to other countries. If they didn't do this and the market petrol price cheaper, then it will not benefit Indian government. Okay. Huh. Considering what Russia, then Soviet Union, do for India in 1971, what has India done for Russia in the Ukraine war? Well, it's a completely different regime. You got to remember that as well. The Soviet Union is not Russia, and Russia is not the Soviet Union. China would rock India in a one-on-one. They have vastly better air force and other capabilities. Let's hope we don't see that. I think it's just that new generational fighter. If it's legit, that is the biggest issue. I don't think anything else would be an issue. Thanks, but geography matters, my guy. It does matter. China would have, as the world's biggest hurdle to get over. Literally, the one of the largest, most hostile mountain ranges in the world. Kind of stopping China from going and attacking. Russia from front, China and India should use diplomacy over war. Russia from back, hey, both of you, do you want Su-30 flankers for S-400 more and battle tanks? Russia will earn from this war just like America earned during World War One. Yeah. Stupid observation. China helped Russia more than India about Russia-Ukraine war. India has not been neutral. Indian 155 millimeter shells have been ended up with Ukraine. To the people, don't give the spelling correction if possible. Lose the perfectionism obsessed in English. People who are way more important than you, prioritize mother tongue. Stop seeing English as a measuring stick, would you? Well, people, I don't think this is an obsession. This is a weird comment. This is a very weird comment. But perfectionist perfectionism and spelling correction, that's just a sign that you're willing to speak in an intellectual manner. It doesn't matter what language it is in. You'd want to, like any language you're talking in or typing in, you'd want to spell correctly and have it be coherent. Otherwise, you just come off as like a madman, right? Nice. Thank you. Actually, it's correction. I'm so confused by that comment. Um, because Russia is weak from Ukraine. True, Russia is being pushed back. That's why they had to had to recruit North Korean soldiers in your dreams. It is true though. Like the war did not go the way that Russia intended it for it to go. Otherwise, it would have been over already, and all of Ukraine would have been completely taken over. And I think what like even like the only significant portions of Ukraine that's currently under Russian control is like the Donbass region right now, right? Hmm. Hmm. It'll be 2.5 front war, as Sir Rawit might have predicted. Can't say even Sri Lanka and Maldives also joined the group to surround India and strain its resources rather than concentrating on China. Also, Maldives might give base for PLA, which another headache for India in the region. Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. Use this GPT prompt for your satisfaction. Oh, he is talking about Chat GPT. Chat GPT is AI is known to have errors. You can't use Chat GPT to satisfy everything. um I hope he realizes this. Like Chat GPT is you can't just go and use Chat GPT, guys. Come on. It's a tool, but it's an inaccurate tool. And it has shown that a lot of Chat GPT, what it says, is inaccurate. All right. Weird little video. Weird little video. Weird little video. But you know what? I'm happy with watching a weird little video. Again, like I like Abhijit Chavda. I think he's very well spoken. I think he's very well read. I agree with him on a lot of things he has to say. There are some things that I disagree with him on, but that is, you shouldn't have to agree 100% with everything to like a person, right? Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. Why hasn't Modi government deported illegal Bangladeshis? Why haven't they? Why haven't they? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll catch you on the next one, yeah? Take care. Goodbye.